Welcome everybody to look at another new 4K Steelbook release, and it is 1985's Pale Rider. So this is directed by and starring Clint Eastwood, who also directed and starred in the likes of Sudden Impact, The Gauntlet, and High Plains Drifter. So as you probably can tell, this is a western, clocking in at 115 minutes long. Also stars Michael Moriarty, who was also in The Stuff, which we'll be talking about later this year, as it is getting a 4K release from our video, as well as It's Alive 3, Island of the Alive. Also stars Carrie Snodgrass, who was in The Fury, which is one of my favourite Brian De Palma films, and Murphy's Law, as well as Chris Penn, who was in Reservoir Dogs and Mulholland Falls. And you've also got a supporting cast of the likes of Richard Dysart, who was the Doctor in The Thing, Richard Keel, who was Jaws in a couple of Bond films, and John Russell, who was in the likes of Rio Bravo and the outlaw Josie Wales, so he's well versed in the Western genre. So, a mysterious preacher protects a humble prospector village from a greedy mining company trying to encroach on their land. So, this is easily one of my favourite Western films, which is primarily thanks to Clint Eastwood, as he manages to give this film a classic feel while also dealing with timely themes such as environmental issues, greedy capitalists, and religion without being too heavy handed on either. It also looks great. Eastwood is excellent in the lead role. It keeps the action. The action is grounded while also being fun. Has a solid supporting cast, a great score. The locales look amazing, and though the plot isn't the most original, the script certainly elevates it above its average roots. And yeah, and some people say that this is too slow for them. I can kind of see why they might think that, because most of the action is confined to, say, the final half hour of the film. But for me personally, I really like that slow build up, that gradual tension that is building between these villagers and the mining company, and yeah, the eventual blast of violence and explosions and such. It really does hit all the harder because it is a gradual, increase in that tension and violence that is committed. It's not just straight away people getting shot and everything. It's built up to that, and yeah, it's really effective in that regard. And yeah, I don't think it's slowly paced at all, to be honest. I think it's paced in such a purposeful and effective manner that it just makes it all the more engrossing throughout. So yeah, fantastic film, 4.5 out of 5. There's very few westerns I'd rate higher than this one. And yeah, this new Steelbook 4K release is a fantastic addition for the film, quite frankly. Really like the Steelbook artwork. You've got the evil marshal and his deputies in the bottom there, and yeah, even though we have all the writing and such on the back again like before, we still have a nice enough rear on it as well. Then inside we have the 4K and the Blu-ray disc. So I've had a Blu-ray of this for quite a while, so I never bothered with the Blu-ray on this version, but the 4K does look really rather good. I wouldn't say it's as impressive as, say, the Outlaw Josie Wales, which really did stand out for me. Um, Maybe it's just because that's an older film and therefore we've dealt with, not the best elements before on previous like Blu-rays and such. But yeah, this is still really rather good. It's just not quite as impressive as the Outlaw Josie Wales as far as the 4K goes. But that said, we do have a bunch of extras on this. We have two featurettes. We've got the Diary of Sydney Penny, Lessons from the Set. Then we've got Painting the Preacher, the cinematography of Pale Rider. And then we have three documentaries as well. Clint Eastwood, A Cinematic Legacy, Reinventing Westerns. And then we've got Eastwood Directs, The Untold Story, and finally the Eastwood Factor as well. So I think there's a couple of those that were also on the Outlaw Josie Wales 4K Steelbook that we've already looked at. But I'm not bothered about whether or not there's any cross pollination, because at the end of the day, if you're only into one film and not the other, then you would be missing out on those extras. So it's nice to have those extras be shared across both films. And at the end of the day, there are obviously extras here that aren't on the other one because they are specific to this film. So yeah, that's really rather good, to be honest. And yeah, fantastic film. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. It was one of the few westerns from the 80s to actually be a hit as well at the box office. It didn't cost didn't even cost 7 million at the to make, and yet it made more than 40 million worldwide. So yeah, that was a good return. I think the only film in terms of the Western genre that did any better than that was Young Guns, but I consider that more of a MTV generation Western than a proper full-on one, because it's not that good. The sequel, for instance, I find to be a little bit better. But as far as this film goes, yeah, it's absolutely great, and yeah, it's a shame that it seems to get a little bit overlooked. I think probably because it is slap bang in the middle of Clint Eastwood's Western, general filmography, because it's after The Outlaw Josey Wales and High Plains Drifter and his spaghetti Western genre films as well. And then it's just before, the likes of Unforgiven, which would obviously be a massive hit and garner all the awards and critical praise, whereas this does seem to have been a little bit overlooked in the grand scheme of things. And it's probably because Western genre had, for the 80s at least, pretty much died out. There were very few that had been successful, and I think that's primarily because of the box office flop that was Heaven's Gate, which came out in the late 70s, early 80s, which, yeah, kind of killed off the Western genre for quite some time. And to be honest, I don't think the genre is really all that recovered, but we do still get some gems now and again. And Pale Rider, Unforgiven, The Quick and the Dead, and such were certainly gems of the genre, and highly recommend all of those ones. So yeah, but nonetheless, if you have seen this film before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.